Chosen one. Do you have any billionaire friends? Would you want to be like them? Are you envious? Be honest. Chosen one. That quiet feeling you try to suppress the tension between admiration and discomfort is not jealousy the way the world defines it. It is recognition. It is your spirit reacting to a frequency it knows you were meant to operate in, even if your current reality does not yet reflect it. And hear this clearly, you did not stumble into this moment. You are watching by divine appointment at a precise intersection of timing where heaven begins to separate spectators from builders. Anointed one. Many of the people you admire learned a rule early that most only discover when time has already been spent, energy already scattered, and opportunities already missed. This rule governs wealth, influence, and legacy, and it is not taught in schools, churches, or families. It is revealed when God begins to call someone out of comfort and into responsibility. You have felt the frustration, the sense of being capable of more yet restrained by hesitation, misunderstanding, or delay. But Scripture reminds us in Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 3 that the vision waits for an appointed time, and when it speaks, it will not lie. This is that moment. Stay with this message until the end. Let it recalibrate your thinking, expose what has been holding you back, and prepare you to build with wisdom in the coming season. If this word resonates, subscribe and stand with this channel and type 777 in the comments as a declaration of alignment. And make a promise to yourself right now that by the time 2026 arrives, you will no longer delay what heaven has already confirmed. Chosen one. There is a rule that governs wealth, influence, and momentum, and it is a rule most people do not learn from books, schools, or sermons. They learn it from pain. They learn it from watching doors close while others rise. They learn it from realizing too late that skill alone was never the deciding factor. And if you are hearing this now, it is because heaven is accelerating your understanding before regret becomes your teacher. Anointed one. You have been taught to believe that if you just become good enough, smart enough, disciplined enough, everything will work out. But that is only half the truth. I have watched incredibly gifted people stay stuck for years, not because they lacked talent, but because they moved with the crowd instead of with discernment. Skill can open doors, but timing decides which doors stay open. Vision can attract opportunity, but alignment determines whether it multiplies or collapses. There is a reason Scripture teaches us that the sons of Issachar understood the times and knew what Israel ought to do. Not because they were the strongest, not because they were the loudest, but because they could read the season. Billionaires learn this early. Others learn it after the season has already passed. Chosen one, here is the first truth you must receive in your spirit. Heaven does not move with the crowd. When everyone is rushing in one direction, intoxicated by excitement, noise and hype, discernment often whispers, "Slow down." And when everyone is paralyzed by fear, retreating, hiding, waiting for permission, faith often says, "Move now." I have seen this pattern repeat itself again and again in real life. Moments when the room was loud with confidence but hollow with wisdom. Moments when people mocked caution and punished patience. And then suddenly the tide shifted. The same voices that laughed went silent. The same people who felt invincible were exposed. As one wise investor once said, when the tide goes out, you see who has been swimming without covering. That is not just a financial truth. It is a spiritual one. Anointed one. This is not about gambling. This is not about chasing trends. This is about learning to move opposite of emotional momentum. Billionaires do not simply ask, "Is this exciting?" They ask, "Is this aligned?" They do not ask, "Is everyone doing this?" They ask, Why is everyone doing this? And most people miss their moment because they wait for confirmation from the crowd instead of conviction from within. I remember the first time I experienced this tension personally. I was young, uncertain, and standing in a room where everyone believed the same thing with absolute confidence. And something in me felt unsettled, not afraid, just unconvinced. It would have been easier to agree, easier to nod, easier to follow. But discernment does not shout. It presses. It creates friction in your spirit. And I learned that ignoring that friction always costs more later. Chosen one, hear this carefully. When something is over-celebrated, over-promised, and over-publicized, wisdom steps back. And when something is quietly forming, misunderstood, ignored, or even mocked, that is often where future value is being incubated. This is not just how wealth moves. This is how calling unfolds. Heaven often hides opportunity in places that offend the ego. That is why so many people miss it. They are waiting for permission, applause, and certainty. But the rule the wealthy learn early is this: by the time something feels safe to everyone, the greatest advantage has already passed. Now listen, anointed one, do not confuse this with recklessness. Discernment is not impulsive, it is anchored. Which brings us to another sacred truth. You do not go all in on every idea. You do not pour your entire life into every opportunity. Even faith requires stewardship. I learned this from watching men and women who had already walked through success and survived it. They understood that preservation is just as holy as expansion. When increase came, they did not celebrate by risking everything. They honored the season by protecting what was entrusted to them. They would take a portion and say, "This is not for excitement, this is for stability." And then from a place of security, they would take another portion and say, "This is where we build." Chosen one. This is wisdom most people never receive until they have already lost what they prayed for. They diversify too early and concentrate too late. They spread themselves thin when they have nothing and then panic when they finally receive something meaningful. But the rule is simple: focus builds wealth and diversification preserves it. I remember sitting across from a mentor when I was young, holding more money than I had ever seen in my life, terrified I was going to destroy it with one wrong decision. I asked him what to do. He didn't give me a speech. He gave me a rule: lock half away, don't touch it, let it be boring, let it be safe, and the other half, that's your responsibility to multiply. But if you lose it, you learn, and if you grow it, you grow. That moment changed how I saw stewardship. It taught me that faith is not emotional. Faith is disciplined trust. And heaven honors those who treat increase with reverence, not adrenaline. Chosen one. This leads to another rule that separates builders from gamblers: be greedy for the long term, not the short term. Most people are impatient because they underestimate how powerful time really is. They want the quick win, the fast applause, the immediate payoff. But the most impactful people I have ever met think in decades, not months. They are generous in the short term. They let others win. They plant seeds without immediate return. And because of that, they accumulate something far more valuable than money, goodwill, trust, and momentum. When their season comes, the ground is already prepared. Scripture teaches that one sows and another waters, but God gives the increase. What most people forget is that increase is exponential over time. The numbers are small at the beginning. They look insignificant. But time multiplies obedience in ways effort never could. Anointed one. If you have felt delayed, it is not because heaven is withholding. It is because heaven is positioning you for sustainability, not spectacle. This message is not here to excite you for a moment. It is here to anchor you for a season. Right now, heaven is recalibrating how you see opportunity, risk, and reward. You are being taught the rule early, not late. You are being trained to move with discernment, not impulse, to build with patience, not pressure, and to trust that when God aligns timing with wisdom, failure becomes almost impossible. Stay with this. Let it settle. Because what you are learning now is not just about wealth. It is about stewardship of destiny. Chosen one. There is another layer to this rule that separates those who build enduring wealth from those who chase moments. It is the understanding that fear and greed are not emotions to obey, but signals to interpret. Most people let fear stop them and let greed blind them. Builders learn to reverse that instinct. They learn to listen without submitting. They learn to feel without following. Anointed one. Fear is loud when something matters. Greed is loud when something looks easy. And the crowd is almost always reacting, not discerning. When the market is euphoric, when everyone is certain, when confidence turns into arrogance, wisdom steps back and asks, what is being ignored right now? And when panic fills the room, when everyone is retreating, when fear convinces people to abandon vision, faith steps forward and asks, what is being prepared beneath the surface? This is not manipulation. This is stewardship of perception. You were never meant to live at the mercy of emotion. Scripture reminds us that God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. A sound mind does not mean a cautious life. It means a discerning one. I have lived long enough to see cycles repeat. The names change, the industries change, the technology changes, but human behavior remains the same. People rush toward what is praised and abandon what is quiet. They worship momentum without understanding substance, and then they are shocked when the tide shifts. Chosen one discernment is the ability to see value before it is validated. It is the courage to act without applause. It is the willingness to be early and misunderstood, rather than late and comfortable. And this is where most people disqualify themselves. Not because they cannot do it, but because they cannot tolerate the loneliness of moving ahead of the crowd. I remember seasons when decisions I made looked foolish to others. Moments when friends questioned my sanity. Moments when family members worried I was risking too much. And I had to learn something that every true builder learns. The people closest to you often cannot see what you are building, not because they are against you, but because they are too close to your past to imagine your future. Anointed one. This is where many people break alignment. They start explaining, they start defending, they start seeking permission, and in doing so they leak conviction. Heaven does not require you to be understood. It requires you to be obedient. And obedience often looks like foolishness before it looks like wisdom. There is a reason Scripture says that the wisdom of God appears foolish to the world. That is not poetic language. That is lived experience. When you move by discernment instead of consensus, you will look wrong until you are proven right. And by the time you are proven right, the window that made it possible is already closing for others. Chosen one, understand this clearly. Timing is not about speed, it is about alignment. Moving too late is just as dangerous as moving too early. And the only way to know the difference is to learn how to read seasons. Seasons do not announce themselves. They reveal themselves to those who are paying attention. This is why builders spend time in silence. This is why they withdraw when others are loud. This is why they study when others celebrate. They are not anti-social. They are future-focused. They know that every season has a shelf life, and they refuse to waste it. Anointed one another rule billionaires learn early is this: opportunity is rarely obvious in the moment. If it were obvious, everyone would take it. Opportunity often looks small, inconvenient, or unproven. It often requires learning patience and restraint. And this is where faith and discipline intersect. I have watched people miss life-changing moments because the return did not feel immediate. They wanted certainty before commitment. They wanted proof before obedience. But faith does not work that way. Faith moves first, understanding follows. And the longer you wait for proof, the more crowded the space becomes. Chosen one. Heaven does not reward hesitation disguised as wisdom. There is a difference between patience and delay. Patience is waiting with readiness. Delay is waiting with excuses. And you know the difference in your spirit. If you are honest, there are moments you felt a quiet nudge to move, to learn, to prepare, to build, and you talked yourself out of it. Not because it was wrong, but because it was uncomfortable. Not because it was risky, but because it required consistency without recognition. Anointed one. This message is not here to shame you. It is here to awaken you. Because heaven is merciful enough to teach you the rule before time teaches it to you harshly. The rule is simple but demanding: build when others are distracted, prepare when others are celebrating, and move when others are frozen by fear. This also means understanding risk correctly. Risk is not danger. Risk is exposure without preparation. True builders do not avoid risk. They manage it. They structure their lives so that one decision does not destroy everything. They create margin. They separate what must be protected from what can be multiplied. I learned this the hard way. Early on, I tied my entire identity to single outcomes. If it worked, I felt worthy. If it failed, I felt defeated. And that is a dangerous place to live, because fear then controls every decision. But wisdom taught me to separate survival from expansion, to protect what sustains me while I experiment with what grows me. Chosen one, this is spiritual maturity. This is stewardship, and heaven trusts those who can hold both caution and courage at the same time. Another truth you must receive is this: wealth is not attracted to desperation. It is attracted to clarity. When you are frantic, you compromise. When you are patient, you see. When you are grounded, you choose better. This is why long-term thinkers win. They are not impressed by quick returns. They are building momentum. They understand that compounding is not just financial. It is spiritual, relational, and intellectual. Every disciplined decision today multiplies tomorrow. Every shortcut today steals from the future. Anointed one, be greedy for the long term. Be generous in the short term. Let others take the spotlight. Let others rush ahead. You are not behind. You are being positioned. The people who last are not the ones who grab everything. They are the ones who build trust, reputation, and endurance. They sow when no one is watching. They serve when no one is applauding. And when their season arrives, the ground responds to them. Scripture teaches that the wealth of the sinner is laid up for the righteous. That does not mean it falls into your lap. It means it transfers to those who are prepared to steward it. Prepared in character, prepared in discipline, prepared in vision. Chosen one. You are not listening to this by accident. Heaven is adjusting how you see time, fear, opportunity, and reward. You are being trained to build something that outlasts excitement and survives correction. Let this truth settle into your spirit. Because once you see the rule clearly, you cannot unsee it. And once you learn it early, regret loses its power over your future. Chosen one. There is a deeper dimension to this rule that most people never confront until life forces them to. It is the realization that building wealth, influence, or legacy is not primarily a financial journey. It is an identity journey. Money only amplifies who you already are. Opportunity only exposes what you have already built inside. And timing only rewards those who have become strong enough to carry what they are asking for. Anointed one. Many people believe they are waiting on resources, when in truth resources are waiting on them. Waiting on their discipline, waiting on their clarity, waiting on their ability to say no without guilt and yes without fear. Heaven does not release weight into hands that have not learned restraint. This is why so many people sabotage their own breakthrough, not consciously, not maliciously, but internally. They rush into expansion without foundation. They chase visibility without identity. They want the fruit without the root system. And when pressure comes, they collapse under the very thing they prayed for. Chosen one billionaires learn early that self-mastery comes before wealth mastery. They learn that the hardest person to lead is not a company, a market, or a team. It is themselves. And if you cannot govern your impulses, your emotions, your need for validation, wealth will expose that weakness faster than poverty ever could. I have watched people receive sudden opportunities that should have changed their lives, only to lose them within a few years. Not because the opportunity was wrong, but because their internal world was unprepared. Their spending reflected insecurity. Their decisions reflected fear. Their relationships reflected unresolved wounds, and instead of wealth healing them, it revealed them. Anointed one. This is why heaven often delays elevation. Delay is not punishment. Delay is mercy. It is protection disguised as frustration. It is God saying, I love you too much to give you this before you can survive it. Scripture teaches that to whom much is given, much is required. That requirement is not external performance, it is internal maturity, and maturity is built in seasons where no one is watching, applauding, or rewarding you. Chosen one. Another rule the wealthy learn early is this: focus is more valuable than opportunity. Most people think they need more options. In reality, they need fewer distractions. They scatter their attention across too many ideas, too many ventures, too many possibilities. And in doing so, they dilute their power. True builders choose one direction and commit to mastery. They understand that concentration creates momentum, and momentum creates leverage. Diversification comes later. Concentration comes first. This is not about limitation, it is about alignment. I remember seasons when I wanted to do everything. I saw opportunity everywhere. Every idea felt promising. Every door looked inviting. And it took discipline, painful discipline, to learn how to say no to good things in order to protect the one thing that actually mattered. Chosen one saying no is not rejection, it is protection. Every yes you give costs you energy, time, and focus. And if you say yes too freely, you end up busy but unproductive, exhausted but unfulfilled. The wealthy learn early that focus is not a personality trait. It is a decision repeated daily. It is choosing depth over novelty. It is staying when others leave. It is continuing when others get bored. It is building when others are distracted. Anointed one. This is where faith becomes practical. Faith is not just believing God can do something. Faith is aligning your daily actions with the future you claim to believe in. Faith shows up in your calendar. Faith shows up in your habits. Faith shows up in what you consistently return to, even when no immediate reward appears. Scripture speaks of those who are faithful in little being entrusted with much. The little is not money, it is consistency, it is obedience in obscurity, it is showing up when motivation fades, it is building systems instead of relying on inspiration. Chosen one. You cannot build a billion-dollar life with a scattered mind. You cannot steward influence with an undisciplined schedule. You cannot multiply resources if you cannot manage attention. And this is why so many people stay stuck at the same level year after year. Not because they are incapable, but because they refuse to simplify. Another truth the wealthy learn early is this: measurement creates reality. What you track improves. What you ignore decays. Hope is not a strategy. Desire is not direction. Builders measure what matters because measurement creates awareness, and awareness creates change. I learned this lesson in uncomfortable ways. There were seasons I avoided looking at numbers because they made me anxious. Finances, health, time usage, progress. And what I avoided measuring quietly controlled me. The moment I began measuring honestly, things started to shift. Not instantly, not dramatically, but steadily. Chosen one measurement is not condemnation. It is clarity. It tells you the truth without emotion. It shows you where you are not where you wish you were. And once you know the truth, you can move forward with wisdom instead of illusion. This applies to money. It applies to habits. It applies to relationships. It applies to spiritual growth. What you do not measure, you do not lead. And what you do not lead, you do not build. Anointed one, there is also a rule about time that most people learn too late. Time is not neutral. It is either working for you or against you, and compounding is merciless. Small decisions repeated daily create massive outcomes over years. The wealthy understand this deeply. They are not obsessed with quick wins. They are obsessed with trajectories. They ask, if I keep doing this for 5 years, where will I end up? And then they adjust accordingly. Most people ask, how do I feel today? Builders ask, where is this taking me? That difference in questioning changes everything. Chosen. One long-term greed is not about selfishness. It is about patience. It is about resisting the urge to cash out early, to quit too soon, to settle for comfort when greatness requires endurance. Long-term thinkers are willing to look foolish in the short term because they are committed to winning in the end. They are generous early. They give value before asking for return. They invest in people before profit. And because of that, when the season shifts, they are surrounded by loyalty instead of competition. Scripture teaches that a good name is better than riches, and a good name is built slowly through integrity, consistency, and restraint. You cannot rush trust, you cannot fake character, and you cannot sustain influence without both. Chosen one, if you feel stretched right now, it is because heaven is expanding your capacity. If you feel constrained, it is because God is refining your focus. If you feel delayed, it is because preparation is still in progress. This message is not about pressure, it is about perspective. You are not behind, you are being trained. You are not late, you are being aligned. You are not lacking, you are being shaped into someone who can carry more without losing yourself. Let this truth anchor you, because the rule you are learning now is not just about money, it is about mastery. Mastery of self, mastery of time, mastery of focus. And once those are in place, wealth becomes a byproduct, not a burden. Chosen one. There is a moment every true builder must face, and it is the moment when they realize that motivation will never be enough to carry them where obedience is required. Feelings rise and fall, inspiration fades, excitement expires. But discipline is what remains when the emotion leaves. Billionaires learn this early. Others wait for motivation and learn it too late. Anointed one, you were never meant to build your future on how you feel today. Feelings are unstable, seasons shift, circumstances change. If your commitment depends on inspiration, you will only move when conditions are perfect, and perfection never arrives. This is why heaven trains its builders in discipline long before it entrusts them with increase. Scripture speaks of those who finish the race, not those who start it. Finishing requires structure. It requires systems that carry you when your desire weakens. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is protection. It keeps you moving when doubt tries to negotiate with your calling. I learned this lesson in a season when everything in me wanted to stop. Not because things were failing, but because they were finally demanding consistency. There is a strange resistance that comes when progress becomes boring, when growth no longer feels dramatic, when the work becomes repetitive. That is the moment many people quit, not at failure, but at stability. Chosen one. Stability does not feel exciting, but it is where wealth is built. Consistency does not feel spiritual, but it is where favor compounds. Discipline is the bridge between vision and manifestation. Another rule billionaires learn early is this: your calendar reveals your true priorities, not your intentions. You can say you want a different life, but your daily schedule tells the truth. Where you spend your time is where your future is being formed. Anointed one faith is not proven in declarations alone. Faith is proven in what you repeatedly show up for. Faith has a rhythm. Faith has a routine. Faith has habits that look ordinary but carry extraordinary weight over time. I have watched people pray for breakthrough while their days were filled with distractions, endless scrolling, reactive conversations, unstructured mornings, and they wondered why nothing changed. Not because God was silent, but because they had no container to hold what they were asking for. Chosen one. God does not pour new wine into broken vessels. Structure is not resistance to the Spirit. Structure is how the Spirit is stewarded. Without it, inspiration leaks, vision fades, momentum collapses. Another truth the wealthy learn early is this: isolation is sometimes the price of elevation. Not permanent isolation, but intentional separation. Seasons where you say no to gatherings, no to noise, no to constant access. Not because you think you are better than others, but because you understand what is being built requires focus. Anointed. One solitude is not loneliness when it is purposeful. It is training. It is alignment. It is where clarity sharpens. Many people fear being alone because silence confronts them. But builders learn to sit with silence until it becomes instruction. Scripture shows us that before major assignments there were hidden seasons. Moses in the wilderness, David in the fields, Jesus withdrawing to pray. These were not delays. These were preparations. Chosen one. If your circle has gotten smaller, it is not punishment. It is positioning. If conversations feel shallow, it is because your spirit has grown deeper. If you feel misunderstood, it is because you are being shaped for something that cannot be explained yet. Another rule billionaires learn early is this: they do not argue with people who cannot see their future. They conserve energy. They stop defending their decisions. They let results speak later. Anointed one explanation is expensive. Every time you try to convince someone who does not have the capacity to understand, you drain conviction. Heaven does not require consensus. It requires obedience. There was a time when I felt the need to justify every move, to explain why I was doing what I was doing, to calm fears, to manage opinions. And I realized something painful: the people demanding explanations were not the ones carrying the weight of my decisions. Chosen one, you do not need permission to become who God called you to be. You need courage to disappoint expectations that no longer fit your assignment. Another lesson the wealthy learn early is this: pressure reveals priorities. When things get tight, time, money, energy, what you protect reveals what you value. Builders protect focus. They protect health. They protect learning. They protect peace. Most people protect comfort, and comfort is expensive in the long run. Anointed one, pressure is not the enemy. Pressure clarifies. It shows you where you are leaking energy. It exposes what needs boundaries. It reveals what cannot go with you into the next season. Scripture teaches that pruning precedes fruitfulness. Cutting back is not loss, it is alignment. God removes distractions, not to deprive you, but to multiply you. Chosen one. If certain habits are being challenged right now, it is because they cannot coexist with what you are building. If certain relationships feel heavy, it is because they pull you backward. If certain environments drain you, it is because they are not designed for your future self. Another rule billionaires learn early is this: they play to win, not to avoid loss. Most people spend their lives trying not to fail. Builders design their lives to succeed. They accept mistakes as tuition. They learn quickly. They move forward. Anointed one. Fear of loss creates small decisions. Fear of failure creates hesitation. But faith anchored in purpose creates boldness with wisdom. I remember moments when I spent hours trying to save small amounts of money instead of investing time into creating more value. I was playing not to lose, and that mindset kept me small. The shift came when I realized that creating value always outpaces saving pennies. Chosen one. Abundance flows toward value, not anxiety. When you focus on becoming more useful, more skilled, more disciplined, resources follow. This is spiritual law and practical truth. Scripture teaches that those who sow generously reap generously. That sowing is not only financial, it is effort, it is time, it is integrity, it is consistency. Anointed one. This message is recalibrating how you see discipline, solitude, pressure, and structure. These are not obstacles, they are tools. They are the framework of builders. If your life feels more serious right now, it is because heaven is shifting you from dreaming to building. Dreams are light, building is heavy, but what is built lasts. Let this truth settle into you. You are not losing joy. You are gaining purpose. You are not becoming rigid. You are becoming grounded. And what you are grounding now will support everything that rises later. Chosen one. There is a truth that separates those who endure from those who burn out, and it is this: you were never meant to prove your worth through achievement. You were meant to build from identity, not for identity. Many people chase success because they are trying to earn permission to feel enough. Builders learn early that worth is not a finish line, it is a foundation. Anointed one. This is where many people lose their way. They believe that once they reach a certain number, a certain title, a certain level of recognition, the restlessness will finally leave. But the truth is, no amount of money can heal a wound that was never addressed. No amount of success can silence insecurity that was never confronted. Wealth only magnifies what already exists. This is why heaven often begins its work inside you before it ever expands around you. God is not interested in giving you more if more will destroy you. He is interested in making you whole so that when increase comes, it becomes a tool, not a trap. I remember a season when I thought the next milestone would finally bring peace. I told myself, when I get there, I'll relax. But every time I reached a goal, another pressure appeared, another expectation, another comparison. And I realized something sobering: if I did not learn how to be at peace where I was, no destination would ever satisfy me. Chosen one. The wealthy learn early that internal stability is more valuable than external success. They learn how to hold contentment and ambition at the same time. They learn how to be grateful without becoming complacent. This balance is rare, and it is sacred. Scripture teaches us to be content in all circumstances, yet also to run the race set before us. That is not a contradiction, it is alignment. You are allowed to be deeply thankful for what you have and deeply committed to what you are building next. Anointed One, many people sabotage their future because they are angry at their past. They are still trying to prove something to people who will never be satisfied. They are still chasing validation from voices that never believed in them, and that unresolved need becomes the driver behind their decisions. This is dangerous, because when approval becomes the goal, compromise follows. You begin to make decisions that look good instead of decisions that are right. You choose speed over sustainability. You sacrifice peace for applause. Chosen One, you do not need to win arguments with people who doubted you. You need to win alignment with the assignment God placed in your hands. Vindication is not your responsibility. Obedience is. Another rule billionaires learn early is this: emotion is information, not instruction. Feelings come and go. Doubt rises. Confidence fades. Fear whispers. Excitement surges. Builders learn how to acknowledge emotion without allowing it to dictate direction. Anointed One, if you wait until you feel ready, you will wait forever. Readiness is not a feeling, it is a decision. Courage does not mean the absence of fear. It means movement in spite of it. I have made some of my most important decisions when I felt uncertain, not reckless, not blind, but aware that clarity often comes after commitment, not before. Waiting for complete certainty is a subtle form of fear disguised as wisdom. Chosen One, heaven honors forward motion anchored in faith. The Israelites had to step into the water before the river parted, not after. Faith requires movement first. Another truth the wealthy learn early is this: your environment shapes your future more than your intentions. The rooms you sit in, the conversations you entertain, the inputs you allow, they all compound over time. Anointed One, you cannot build a future while feeding your past daily. If every voice you listen to reinforces limitation, fear, or comfort, your growth will slow no matter how motivated you feel. This does not mean abandoning everyone. It means discerning what has permission to influence you. Builders are ruthless about input. They choose mentors over crowds, depth over noise, wisdom over validation. There were seasons when I had to intentionally change what I listened to, what I watched, and who I allowed to speak into my decisions. Not because others were wrong, but because their perspective was shaped by a different destination. Chosen One. Not everyone is called to the same altitude, and those who are comfortable where they are will not understand why you refuse to settle. Another rule billionaires learn early is this: patience is not passive, it is active preparation. While others wait and hope, builders prepare and train. They learn, they refine, they build capacity. Anointed One. Waiting seasons are not empty, they are formative. If you waste them, you delay your own future. If you steward them, they accelerate what comes next. Scripture teaches that those who wait upon the Lord renew their strength. Renewal does not mean inactivity, it means alignment. It means shedding what drains you and strengthening what sustains you. Chosen One. If things feel slower than you expected, it is because depth takes time. Roots grow in silence, foundations are laid underground, and nothing built to last is rushed. Another truth the wealthy learn early is this: comparison is poison. It distorts perspective, it breeds impatience, it creates discouragement. Builders compare themselves only to who they were yesterday. Anointed One, someone else's timeline has nothing to do with your assignment. Someone else's breakthrough does not delay yours, and someone else's success does not diminish your calling. I have watched people quit journeys they were uniquely designed for because they became obsessed with someone else's highlight reel. They abandoned consistency for comparison, and that always leads to regret. Chosen one, run your race, build your life, steward your time. Heaven measures faithfulness, not speed. Another rule billionaires learn early is this: gratitude fuels longevity. Those who last are not entitled. They remember where they came from. They honor the process. They respect the seasons. Anointed one gratitude keeps ambition clean. It prevents bitterness. It protects joy. It reminds you that progress is a privilege, not a burden. Scripture teaches us to give thanks in all circumstances, not because everything is perfect, but because gratitude aligns your heart with truth, and a heart aligned with truth builds wisely. Chosen one. This message is recalibrating how you see worth, readiness, patience, and pressure. You are not behind. You are not unqualified. You are not overlooked. You are being formed into someone who can carry more without losing yourself. The rule you are learning now is not about chasing success to feel whole. It is about becoming whole so that success does not consume you. And when you build from that place, what you create will not just grow, it will endure. Chosen one. There comes a moment when everything you have been learning must collapse into one final truth. Your why will determine whether you endure when everything else is stripped away. Skills will help you start. Discipline will help you continue. But only purpose will carry you through the seasons where nothing seems to work. Anointed one. Many people quit not because they are incapable, but because they forgot why they began. When the applause fades, when progress slows, when resistance increases, motivation alone cannot sustain you. This is where the rule most people learn too late becomes undeniable. If your reason for building is shallow, the cost will feel unbearable. Billionaires learn early that money is not a strong enough why. Recognition is not a strong enough why. Proving people wrong is not a strong enough why. Those motives burn hot, but they burn out quickly. They cannot withstand years of pressure, uncertainty, and sacrifice. I have seen people with extraordinary talent walk away from destiny because their why was borrowed. It came from comparison, from competition, from insecurity, and when the journey demanded patience instead of praise, they lost their fire. Chosen one. Your why must be anchored deeper than success. It must be tied to meaning, to contribution, to calling. Scripture teaches that where there is no vision, the people perish. Vision is not imagination. Vision is purpose clarified. Your why is not something you invent. It is something you uncover, and most often it is hidden right beside the greatest pain you have survived. Anointed one. There is a reason your life unfolded the way it did. There is a reason certain struggles marked you, certain disappointments shaped you, certain losses matured you. They were not random, they were refining you for a specific assignment. I did not understand this until I looked back and connected the dots. The frustrations that once felt unfair were training grounds. The delays that once felt cruel were protective barriers. The pain I wanted to escape was shaping the empathy and insight I would later need to lead, build, and serve. Chosen one. Many people try to outrun their pain. Builders learn how to redeem it. They turn what almost broke them into fuel. They let their story become a bridge for others. This is why your why must be bigger than you. When your work is connected to impact, endurance becomes possible. When your building is connected to service, sacrifice becomes meaningful. Another rule billionaires learn early is this: they stop building their life around comfort and start building it around calling. Comfort is seductive. It promises ease, but it quietly steals potential. Calling demands more, but it gives back purpose. Anointed one. If you feel a holy dissatisfaction right now, it is not ingratitude. it is alignment stirring. You are allowed to be grateful for where you are and still hungry for what you are meant to build. That tension is not confusion, it is direction. Scripture shows us people who were blissfully dissatisfied. They were grateful, but they knew there was more to do. They were content, but they refused to settle. That posture is sacred. Chosen one. The rule you are learning now is this: you do not build to escape your life. You build to fulfill it. And fulfillment does not come from accumulation. It comes from alignment. Another truth the wealthy learn early is this: responsibility precedes authority. If you want influence, you must first be faithful with what is in your hands. If you want increase, you must steward the current assignment with excellence. Many people pray for bigger platforms while neglecting small responsibilities. They ask for expansion while ignoring details. But heaven promotes those who are faithful in the unseen. Anointed one. How you handle the little reveals how you would handle the much. Your daily habits matter. Your integrity in small decisions matters. Your consistency when no one is watching matters. I learned this when no one was paying attention, when there was no recognition, when the work felt repetitive, and I realized something powerful: God was watching even when people were not. And that awareness changed how I showed up. Chosen one excellence is not perfection. It is intentionality. It is care. It is doing your best with what you have now, not what you hope to have later. Another rule billionaires learn early is this: they stop blaming circumstances and start owning outcomes. They understand that responsibility is empowering. It puts you back in control. Anointed one, blaming external forces may feel comforting, but it keeps you small. Ownership may feel heavy, but it sets you free. The moment you accept responsibility for your choices, your growth accelerates. This does not mean everything is your fault. It means everything is your opportunity to respond with wisdom. Scripture teaches that wisdom cries out in the streets, but only the humble hear it. Humility is not weakness. It is teachability. It is the willingness to adjust. Chosen one correction is not rejection. Feedback is not attack. Builders learn to listen without defensiveness. They extract value even from uncomfortable truths. Another truth the wealthy learn early is this: they build systems that outlast their moods. They do not rely on inspiration. They rely on process. They understand that what is repeated becomes identity. Anointed one. Your future is being shaped by what you do consistently, not occasionally. One inspired day does not change a life. Thousands of ordinary disciplined days do. Scripture teaches us to be transformed by the renewing of our minds. Renewal is not instant. It is daily. It is repetitive. It is intentional. Chosen one, do not despise the ordinary. Ordinary obedience produces extraordinary outcomes over time. Another rule billionaires learn early is this: they prepare for success before it arrives. They build capacity ahead of demand. They develop character before influence. They strengthen discipline before expansion. Many people wait until opportunity arrives to prepare. Builders prepare so that when opportunity arrives, they are ready. Anointed one preparation is faith in action. It is saying, I believe this is coming, so I will become who I need to be now. Scripture teaches that the wise virgins prepared their oil in advance. They were not scrambling at the last minute. They were ready when the moment came. Chosen one. Your season is not random. You are not watching this by accident. Heaven is aligning insight, timing, and responsibility in your life. The rule you are learning now is not about becoming rich quickly. It is about becoming ready permanently, ready to build, ready to lead, ready to steward. And when your why is clear, your discipline is strong, your focus is aligned, and your identity is rooted, wealth becomes a tool, not a temptation. Influence becomes a platform, not a prison. Success becomes service, not self-worship. Chosen one. This is not just about what you are building. It is about who you are becoming in the process. And that is the true transfer that heaven is releasing in your life right now. Chosen one, as this message comes to rest in your spirit, receive this truth with reverence. Nothing you have heard today was delayed, and nothing was premature. You are standing in your exact Kairos moment, the appointed time where understanding meets obedience and heaven responds to alignment. What others learn through regret, you are receiving through revelation. Anointed one, a transfer is already in motion, not just of insight, but of discipline, clarity, and endurance. The rule you have received is not merely about wealth, it is about longevity, stewardship, and building what will outlive emotion and circumstance. Heaven is entrusting you with long vision, steady hands, and a heart anchored beyond short seasons. May you walk forward without fear of being misunderstood. May you build with patience when others rush, and remain faithful when progress feels quiet. May wisdom guard your timing, and may favor rest on the work of your hands as you commit to what God has placed before you. Stay aligned, stay grateful, stay disciplined in the small, unseen places, because what is forming now will soon speak for itself. And as you move into what is next, do so with peace, knowing that what is unfolding is backed by heaven. If this word resonated with you, let it be sealed with gratitude. You may subscribe, share, or simply leave a comment declaring alignment. And go forward, chosen one, knowing that what you are building now is setting the foundation for what is about to manifest.